we're going to talk about is AI's role in performance marketing. Naturally, we know that it's already here, but we're going to talk about some specifics in terms of its involvement, how it's going to work in 2022, and some of the updates that are currently happening that are really interesting. So one of which is MUM. It's a new AI milestone for understanding information. So MUM stands for Multitask Unified Model. MUM is an AI-powered algorithm. So it has the potential to transform how Google helps with complex tasks by using AI. So one example of this is using an example of that you've hiked Mount Adams and now you want to hike Mount Fuji next fall, next winter, whenever that may be, and what you want to do differently to prepare for that. So realistically, how you'd need to do that now is you'd have to search several times using lots of different, quite cleverly processed searches that you need to understand the height, the clothing that you're going to need, you know, all of those different things, the best route around the mountain, for example. But what they're trying to get to with this algorithm update is the process of understanding all of that information that you're going to need and provide it back in a nice answer or different search results. So you've got everything in one place, essentially. MUM uses this or uses the T5 text-to-text framework, which is 1,000 times more powerful than the previous update that was rolled out 2 years ago, and that was called BERT, and that evolved around the content and understanding queries in a lot more detail. One really amazing thing about the MUM update is it's trained across 75 different languages and has the ability to transform knowledge across languages. So, for example, with my specific example around Mount Adams and Mount Fuji, is that there might be a lot more information in Japanese, for example, but if I'm searching in English, then it's going to learn from the Japanese sort of search results, and it's going to try and deliver the best result back in English possible, learning from the Japanese results, essentially. So it's really clever in that respect. It is also a multi-model, so it understands information across text and images. This will expand further in the next year or so into video and audio, which will help a lot of people using audio now. But again, an example of an image on the right-hand side on this slide is that I could upload a picture of some trainers or mountain boots and basically ask whether they are appropriate for climbing up Mount Fuji. You could do that with lots of other things as well around clothing, whether that is smart casual and stuff like that. So it's exciting in terms of the way that it's going to evolve. So moving on to my next slide. Just go through. This is just a bit how AI is currently used with sort of some of the tools that we're very used to using and how it's already available with ads. So, for example, Google uses AI in its platforms to help improve the campaigns being run and the results being seen by users. For example, some very commonly known sort of phrases such as, or types of ads such as responsive search ads within Google uses machine learning to help deliver relevant, valuable ads. As advertisers who use Google machine learning to test multiple creatives can see up to a 15% increase in sort of click-through rates as well, which is really good. Google also uses smart bidding strategy, which is powered by machine learning. The most relevant video ads shown to you on YouTube uses machine learning to provide you with that. Local campaigns drive people through to physical stores, uses machine learning. AI is used for shopping ads, uses the smart shopping campaigns and helps decide where this is shown to users and how it's shown to users. Again, uses AI and machine learning. Google can predict the click-through rate using sort of that machine learning sort of as well. And DV360, which is a programmatic display tool, uses AI to target audiences and purchase impressions across a variety of different streaming channels through an automated process called real-time bidding, again, all powered by machine learning. So all of this is currently available at this moment in time, and all of this is used, but in future it will continue to evolve, and different things will get rolled out across these platforms, which will help provide more help providers with more information and detail, and be able to really drill down and get our audiences right. So for example, one thing that we'll be able to tell us in future is around micro trends, and even predict future trends as well. So that's something that will really help our performance marketing needs. It can also help reduce ad spend wastage, which naturally we want to become more cost effective and efficient with our ad spend as well. So moving forward to the next trend. This year, a lot of people are sort of starting to use this and roll it out. We suggest, UNRVL suggests that you have this in conjunction with an existing universal analytics view and property, just because there are some elements that don't currently exist in GA4 that do in universal analytics. But we expect this to become more of the norm as we move throughout 2022. Again, this offers AI insights and predictions powered by machine learning. You get improved audiences for Google Ads. Codeless event and conversion tracking is available in GA4. Client and money-centric dimensions and reports are available as well. You can track both web and app behavior on multiple devices. Again, really good to get an understanding of the users and what devices they're visiting your website via. And there's new options around user data controls, which can be really useful. The main reason why we say don't fully migrate across to GA4 yet is because there are some limitations with GA4 around some audience interest reports. It doesn't have certain integrations for people that want to integrate with Google Search Console, which is very useful from an SEO perspective. It also has separate Google Ads reports, so it's not as well integrated on that. Data retention period is limited. GA access level rights are not enabled yet. And no data import with other aspects if you want non-Google related ROAS data. And search ads and DV360 conversions are not fully integrated yet. So moving through to the next trend is planning for a cookieless future, which is naturally being a hot topic with all the announcements of third-party cookies being disabled or discontinued as we move through not only this year, but now next year. So what performance marketers should be doing now to plan for the future: understand the loss of third-party cookies, how to capture first-party data, utilizing that first party data, and creating those cookieless strategies for the future. So we just move through. So just to give you a top level understanding here in terms of, if you don't know what cookies are for first party and third party. First party cookies are directly stored by the website or domain you visit. These cookies allow website owners to collect analytical data and remember language settings and perform other useful functions that provide a good user experience, whereas third-party cookies are created by domains that are not the website or domain that the user is currently visiting. These tend to be for advertising purposes and are implemented via a script tag or pixel. So understanding the loss of third-party cookies. So third-party cookies are set and assessed by a different entity, as I just previously mentioned. But what we need to do is we need to understand what third-party cookies provide for your business currently, what sort of advertising you're currently running, and how you're currently using those third-party cookies. Look at the gaps where the data can no longer be collected from and where personalized ads can't be served for users. Do you know the target audience? Do you know your demographics, interests, wants and needs of those target audiences? What tools are advertising you? or are currently running or using, and how will that be affected? I think one good thing that has come out of this as well is that we're going to get a greater understanding of our users, because by having sort of the first party data that I'm going to talk about in a second, it means we're going to have a greater understanding of our specific clients who are interested in our products or our needs or services that we offer. And also, Google has delayed the removal of the third-party cookies until 2023. So this gives us 2022 to get us a correct and really good strategy in place, so that we know what we're doing once those cookies, third-party cookies, are removed. First and foremost, you do need a good strategy on how to capture first-party data. So there's various different ways of how you can capture third-party data. These are just a collection of some. So site and app registration, SSO, single sign-on, select any content locking. So if you have a specific, very valuable piece of content, make people sign up or register so that to get to that piece of content, so you can capture their information and data and use that. Newsletter sign up, progressive profiling with any sort of EMSs such as Sitecore, Kentaco, online site interactions, loyalty and reward programs, content sharing, customer reviews and feedback are always good, and polls and surveys if you have the ability to do that as well. These are all really useful ways. I mean, there's lots of other ways of doing this, but these are just a collection of some. Utilizing that first party data. So using first party data is now a focus for many marketers. So it's important that we collect this safely, accurately, so that we can benefit any marketing efforts in the future. From the data collected, where is it being stored, and how many of these users have opted in for marketing? Although we're collecting first party data, we need to ensure that people are opted in for any marketing offerings. So we can't just go out to anyone who we've collected data on and naturally target them with any marketing strategies. We need to create a strategy around collecting additional first-party data, which I previously mentioned on the slide before. We need to combine data sources into one central warehouse, which is good to just centralize absolutely everything, have one place. Enhance first-party data with predictions from AI-powered tools. Now, this can really help enhance that data and help for any additional marketing purposes. We then have a richer pool of first-party data to build out a strategy to market to this audience through the different channels. So this is now where we create a strategy, a cookieless strategy for the future, which I'll just touch on now. So once we have this data, and once we have all first-party data that is approved and opted in to be able to target, we then look at the different strategies that we can do. And now all of these are stuff that we probably are currently doing, but we're doing it with in slightly different ways, or we're specifically around the paid side of things. We're currently using sort of third-party cookies to collect some of this data to then utilize it. But some of it we can use marketing automation, for example, so we can run some really compelling campaigns with that first-party data to really get that sort of get that longer term relationship with those existing customers and potential customers as well. SEO and digital PR don't necessarily rely on third-party cookies to be able to find that audience base. These are potentially two service lines there, which they work very closely hand in hand anyway, in terms of trying to rank for specific keywords, increase awareness, all of those different things that will gain exposure in the search engines, and those don't necessarily need third parties, so those will become strong cookieless strategies in the future. Now, paid search, paid social can still be used. It's just a case of using first party data to be able to do that. First party data can be used across most of these using lookalike audiences, paid channels such as Facebook and Instagram would be the best platforms, as there's less restrictions around the amount of data required. For example, Google requires over 1,000 email addresses to be able to use first-party data. So in terms of the paid side of things, there are certain limitations, but they can still be utilized if you have a big enough first-party database. And also contextual advertising as well can be used in terms of personalization to deliver relevant advertising directly to those interested parties as well.